So to start, kind of first question for both of you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you guys have been friends for a long time, right?
Correct. You are
No,
wrong. We never
not at
met.
all.
I
We
got
never
a yes
met.
and a no.
All that friendliness was faked. No, we actually we had I was a great admirer and fan of Colm for years and always thought he'd be perfect, literally perfect for the script, but never met. And then after he said, yes, I'd love to do it, we spoke on the phone, but never met. And it took a couple of years between COVID and schedule conflicts. When we finally met, we had a pint of Guinness, and I went, okay, now it's real because I can see Colm Meaney and I can see the Guinness. But then we did a stage reading. We just read, table read, and it went swimmingly. And several people came over and said, "Oh, so you guys have obviously worked together a lot." When first time met the men. But we hit it off, and the characters were so fun to play together. And I think, like the characters, we can both be lovely and charming. We can both be pretty bristly and fall to our worser instincts without too much provocation.
Yeah. I love that dynamic in the movie too, because it's so fun. I mean, when you guys are at each other's throats, but then there's the moments where you're like, it's almost working. You think they could get somewhere and then it just falls back apart. I love the kind of back and forth there. I'm curious from your guys' point of view, what was the more fun part? Was it when you were to one up each other, or was it when you were getting along and could actually be friends?
Oh, I think it
Home,
was the
you
bad
take it.
stuff. I think it was when the bad stuff came out. I think there was there were so many moments that were just wait just a minute,
Yes.
hold on, I'm not falling for that.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
those moments, all those moments are so much fun to play.
You know, and the movie really sits on the knife's edge of those two instincts. There's a scene where they attempt one of the reconciliations, and then Colm's character makes this lovely gesture, and he comes to my hotel room in peace, and I don't believe it. And he says, and there's a line where he goes, "Can I come in?" And I went, "No, of course you can't come in." And then I just look at his pathetic face, his hangdog face. All right, come in.
You let him in.
Yeah, and it's like there it is. It's like no, I totally yeah, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's where we all stand. Every in the world, it's like we all kind of would like theoretically to get along. We'd like to not be fighting, but how do we do it? Who's going to make the first move? And that's what if there's a bigger picture to this movie, it's that. It's like how do resolve conflict? It's like, well, I don't know how to do it for the world, so let's take a look at a family. It's like, and everybody has some family dynamic where you go, I don't even know why they're not talking to each other.
Mhm.
But it's 11 years now.
Sure.
So so to me that was the fun, is the on the edge of going back and forth from I don't trust you to I'm going to try to trust you. Like, nah, I don't trust you.
Sure. Yeah, no, it looked like a lot of fun to play and act that way. And that the way that scene continues to play out, your line with the towels, that made me laugh really hard too. So had to mention
She,
that.
we Jane Levy and myself were the only Americans, but the rest of the cast and the entire crew were British, were Irish. Sorry. I
Shots
forget, right? No,
fired.
I think I'm just thinking colonial, because that's how I was right now. But the woman who plays the innkeeper, Sheila Flinton,
Mhm.
this 89-year-old, lovely. She was just the light of the set.
Really?
She was in Banshees of Inisherin, and she was fantastic in that. And
I recognized her. Yeah.
and we, she has this very unique look, and she's just like you just fall in love with her. And on the set, you think, well, be careful, she's 89. She would put on Elvis, and she would dance to Elvis between the thing. Like, what
No
what
way.
is she eating? I got to get me some of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
She was
Imagine
yeah.
just
that.
lovely and funny and delightful and surprising. She never did a line reading twice the same way.
Yeah.
You go, it's all great. It's all great.
Sure. No, I love it. I love it. Paul, I'm curious. You obviously were a co-writer on this. when you were kind of working on this project, did you ever, I mean, like you said, every family has problems, has feuds or anything, but I'm curious, was this like based on anything at all? Have you heard of a
No, it was
story
it
like this?
was I sort of started backwards. I didn't have a story. I just knew I wanted to make a movie in Ireland. I really wanted to go to a pretty countryside and make a movie, which is a silly way to start, I guess. So then I thought, well, why is this New Yorker going to Ireland?
Mhm.
And I played with it for a couple of years by myself and didn't get anywhere. And I thought, let me maybe write it with somebody. And so I brought in somebody introduced me to my co-writer, Wally. I'd never met him either. And we just hit it off and we started brainstorming and thought, well, what if it's a family thing? Okay. And then the idea of what if it's a long generational feud that these two endeavor to put an end to it? So, well, that's funny because then I can see why these two well-intended guys
Yeah.
can't get over themselves. Um, so it wasn't, but certainly I mean I have in my immediate family and then in my extended family, I can think of any number of feuds that I know have been there for generations. I
Hmm.
remember my mother once said something dismissive about an aunt of mine, of my father's sister. This was like 1992. And she said, "Yeah, I'm still upset about what she said." I said,
Sure.
"When did she say that?" 1947. I went, 1947. Let it go. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But she couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
I didn't care for what she said. And it was so nothing, but like it was just enough to her to hold on to for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Like you said, I guess some people hang on to this or that kind of thing.
Yeah. And some people it gives them the reason to live, like,
Mhm. But this is, like you said, a good movie about how to kind of resolve that, kind of what it looks like. I thought you really got at something here, so
yay,
really enjoy it.
yay.
Home, there is, forgive me, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but a scene towards the end of the movie where you're playing Gaelic football.
That's right. No, dead on. Yeah.
Yeah, is that, I mean, I know it's a real thing. I looked it up and everything, but it sent me down a Wikipedia rabbit hole when I was watching the movie because I was like, "Oh, I've never heard of this." I was the Paul character, the American who's just like, "This
Oh,
is
I
real."
never heard of it either. I never heard of it.
No,
So,
it is the biggest sport in Ireland. I mean, it's the equivalent of the Super Bowl, the All Ireland final. There's 85,000 people in the stadium, and it's huge. And it's an amateur sport,
mm,
but I mean they work and train now like professionals. But it's not like there are clubs that play on a lower level, but the top level of the game is actually between the counties. So each county in Ireland has a football team and a hurling team, and they compete for there's both a league and a knockout championship, which is the big one, the All Ireland Championships.
One of the great Sundays we had there is Colm arranged for us, and we all went to a gala. Who it was Cork against I forget who.
Who was it? Yeah,
It was great, and it was a big. What's the name of the arena? The Craig
the Croke Park.
Croke Park, which is where Springsteen played. I mean, it's a huge stadium,
yeah,
and it's the scale is different. It's a much wider field than American football, and I think a bit longer. And it's great. It wasn't. I'm not really sharp, and I'm thinking I'm not going to understand it. Like you can understand it pretty readily, and it was great fun. And and then you have a couple of Guinnesses while you're watching. It's like, oh, it was really. But originally, I had written soccer, and then I was speaking to an Irish woman. She goes, you might want to change it to Gaelic football. I went, and as you did, Brandon, I went, what is that? I went, oh, that looks great. So
yep.
now we have, and then perhaps to have him explain it. It's like football with basketball and a little wrestling. Like,
It was,
okay.
yeah, the way you explained it in the movie is perfect. And then I just looked it up online for like 30 minutes after that, like, oh wow, this does go deep. This is cool.
It's deep. It's deep.
Another part I'm also curious about is in during all the shenanigans of the movie, there's one of the thing Paul, your character does to Colm involves some sheep. And Colm, you have a scene or
You
two.
make it sound dirty the way you say it, Brandon. It sounds a
Well,
little.
I was curious. Were those real sheep and were they like dirty to work with?
They're
Yes,
only they're
yes, and yes.
real. Those were SAG. Those were union sheep. Those were SAG
Oh, yeah.
actor sheeps. You know what? By the way, that's another cliche that you go, well, it can't quite be that many sheep. And you go, and everywhere you go in Ireland, they're just all over. They're just walking across in the streets. And I mean, there were like 3 or 4 lines about sheep that I had to take out because I said, you know what? I think this is just my obsession. So
Yeah.
remember there was a scene, there was a discussion at the football scene, Colm, where I said, well, what do they do like on a Tuesday, a sheep? And you say, well, they just walk around, they eat and they shit. And I feel I was like, oh, yeah, I have a nephew does the same thing. That's basically all he did. But
You
we
see
did, you
it.
know, there's too many sheep jokes. Um, and they're colored, they're painted like some, and some have big red dots and some
Yeah.
have blue dots. I said, so is that a Republican and a Democrat? And they go, no, that one has been neutered. That one is pregnant. Like they're marked for breeding. And
Huh.
but I'll tell you, when you eat a lamb chop there, you feel a little self-conscious.
Yeah, I think I would too if they were
I,
around.
I saw this afternoon walking.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Awesome. Well, Colm, Paul, that was all I had for the two of you.
That's
Thanks.
all we had. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks so much for your time, though, and congratulations again on the movie.
Make sure you tell everybody to go watch it, Brandon.
I will. I will for sure. I
God
can't wait
bless
to
you.
get on a big screen.